I've had cars come through my shop with perfect service records, every stamp, every oil change done by the book, and when we crack them open, the engine's worn like it's been neglected for years. The owners never saw it coming. No warning lights, no strange noises, nothing. Just a motor that gave up way before it should have. After 20 odd years of doing this, I can usually tell you what happened, and 9 times out of 10, it's not what they did wrong on the motorway. It's what they did wrong in the first 90 seconds after turning the key. There are 3 mistakes I see constantly. One of them is a habit most people think is actually good for the engine, and there's one about your electrics that almost nobody talks about. Let me walk you through what's really going on. You know that moment first thing in the morning? You turn the key, the engine fires, and everything sounds normal. No rattles, no warning lights, so you think, right, let's go. What's easy to miss is most of the oil has been sat down in the sump all night. Even though the oil pressure light might go out pretty quick, it still takes a good 30 to 60 seconds for oil to properly work its way through all the little passages and get up to every moving part that needs it. And when it's cold, the metal parts inside the engine aren't at their happy fit yet. Pistons, rings, bearings, they're all slightly out of their ideal clearances. That's when friction is highest, even if you can't feel it. In the trade, you'll hear numbers like 75 to 90% of engine wear happening around cold start. Sounds mad, but I've seen enough worn engines to say the damage is usually quiet. You don't hear it, you don't feel it, it just stacks up over years. So here's the simple tip. Treat the first minute like it matters, because that's exactly why mistake number 1 gets expensive. Mistake number 1 is the one I see every winter. You fire it up, scrape the windscreen, jump in, and you're thinking, right, I'll just pull out quick and get going. And then it's straight into traffic, a bit of throttle, maybe a kick down to merge. Here's what that really does. In those first moments, the engine's trying to protect itself with a tiny film of oil between moving parts. Bearings and cylinder walls live on that film, and under load it can be about 5 microns thick. When everything's cold, that safety cushion is at its weakest. Add revs, add load, and you're basically squeezing that film even thinner. That's when you get little scuffs you'll never hear, but they add up. If you've got a turbo, it's even touchier. Running a turbo short on oil for 5 seconds can do the kind of damage people associate with running an engine with no oil for minutes. And no, the fact it doesn't knock doesn't mean it's fine. Most of this wear is silent. Simple guardrails, keep the revs low, no boost, no hard kickdowns, gentle throttle until the temp needle starts to move. I'll be honest, I learned this the expensive way. Back in my rally days, I used to start it and just go, thinking I knew better. It cost me a turbo and a set of bearings before it finally sunk in. Mistake number 2 is the long warm-up idle. You know the one, start it up, leave it ticking over for 5 or 10 minutes because you're being gentle. That habit's really a leftover from the carburetor days. The last carb car sold in the States was back in '94. Modern engines don't need that kind of babysitting. And here's the bit most people don't realise. When an engine's cold, it runs a bit rich. Extra fuel can wash the oil off the cylinder walls, and some of that fuel ends up thinning the oil in the sump. Not ideal. Now I'm curious, how many of you still do the long idle? Maybe your dad taught you, maybe it just feels like the safe thing. Drop a comment and tell me what you've always heard. No judgment, I see it all the time. Also, the temp gauge can trick you. Coolant warms up fairly quick just sitting there, but the oil can take 15, 20, even 25 minutes of actual driving to properly heat through. If the oil never gets properly hot, around boiling point, moisture and fuel stay in it, and that's how you get sludge over time. On a lot of direct injection motors, loads of idling and short cold runs also helps carbon build up on the intake side. My tip, start it, give it 30 to 60 seconds to settle, then drive off gently. You'll usually warm it up cleaner by moving than by idling on the drive. If you need defrost for safety, fine, just don't make 10 minutes of idle the daily routine. Another one I see every winter. You start the car and within 2 seconds you've got the rear defroster on, both seat heaters, the blower on full, headlights, fog lights, the whole Christmas tree. Here's the problem. Right after you start it, the battery is at its weakest. It's just spent a big chunk of its energy cranking the engine, and when it's freezing out, it's even worse. Around 0 degrees Fahrenheit, a battery can lose roughly 60% of its capacity. That cold crank can pull 200 amps or more. Then the alternator has to immediately recharge the battery and power everything you've just switched on. And those comfort loads add up fast. Rear defroster is about 200 watts. Seat heaters can be 35 to 100 watts each. Then the fan, lights, all while belts are stiff and everything's cold. Last January we did 3 alternators in 1 week. Same story every time. Cold snap hit, people started turning everything on at once. So the tip is simple. Safety first, comfort second. If you need lights and defogging to see, use them. But give it a minute before you pile on the big stuff. Add things in steps once it's running smoothly. You're not saving electricity. You're just not shocking the system when it's already under strain. Here's the routine I tell people to do because it covers all 3 problems without turning your morning into a science project. You start the car and you just watch for 2 things. The oil pressure light goes out and the idle settles down. Then give it 30 to 60 seconds, not 5 minutes, just enough time for the oil to get moving and for the engine to calm itself. After that, drive off gently. Light throttle, keep the revs down, no kick down, and if you've got a turbo, don't go asking it for boost straight away. For the first couple of miles, just drive like you've got a cup of tea on the seat. Use what the car already gives you. That blue cold light, or the temp gauge, is your little reminder. Not yet. And don't get tricked by the needle sitting in the middle. Coolant warms up way faster than the oil, so keep it calm a bit longer even if it looks normal. And in winter, don't hit every electrical button the second it fires. Get rolling, then add the big loads one by one. Lights and defogger if you need them for safety, but the heated seats can wait a minute. That's it. 90 seconds. No additives, no gadgets. If that just saved you from doing one of these every morning, hit subscribe and give it a like. It helps me know what's actually useful, and I'll keep making more of these.